Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1.
Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the schmoes know, this is Guilty Movie Pleasures. In-depth discussion on movies, no matter how guilty they make you feel.
What is up, Guilty Movie Pleasure fans? We got another week here, a little Thanksgiving treat for everybody. We're talking the Thanksgiving classic, Pauly Shore's best film, Son-in-Law. Let's just make sure we all know he's a relative nightmare. And my favorite thing about this is on the back it says, crawls unlike anything the Midwesterners have ever seen before. Outside the barn, that is. But before long, crawls plowing his way into their hearts. It's not every day that
it's a great movie.
It says a lot of things. It says a lot more than that, but I like that Crawl plows his way into their hearts, and plowing their way into my hearts today are my two extra special guests. Josh Macuga couldn't be here today, but he is replaced by my lovely wife, Renee Dorian Begley over here, who you've seen in the Funhouse Massacre if you were a good fan and went out and to support it. She's also done a ton of Nickelodeon voiceover. She's been on Blackish, on The Young and the Restless.
Oh, jeez.
Okay,
that's enough.
To her left is Leigh Parker, who you've seen him on Castle, The Funhouse Massacre, in Wild, the Academy Award-winning film, and he's just won Damn Sexy Australian. So welcome, Leigh.
That's amazing. Yeah, you're on People.
It's on your
cover.
It's on your it's Sexiest Australian Alive on the People Australia.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
I don't think they even have a People Australia.
Do they?
Isn't it just People?
I think it's just people, yeah.
Just people.
Yeah.
They don't discriminate via
No,
country.
they're like, we know what we are. It's all good.
We know we're sexy. We don't have to.
Welcome to the show, guys. How are you feeling?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, welcome back. Renee was a big hit last time. People were very nice.
A big hit. Well, thank you.
When we were periscoping, everybody
I don't know. Someone said I had a weird voice, so
that's
get
why
ready
you do
for
so much
Weird
animation.
Voice Round 2.
Weird Voice Round 2. Did we do your voices last time? Did we have you do a few?
I don't know. I talked like a little boy. That was for a second. It was weird.
You did that in Ohio. You did that voice.
I just talk like little boys sometimes. It's kind of my thing.
She busted out at the strangest times.
Guys, you want to hear a little boy voice? Here you go.
That's how she won me over. Hey, and that sounds real weird.
I see you at the bar over there.
That sounds real weird. Leigh, so we met on the Funhouse Massacre shoot.
Actually in the casting office.
In the casting office,
The casting couch, maybe?
Yeah.
Another inappropriate joke.
Yep.
It's much like the little boy one you just told.
We made an inappropriate joke about Carrie.
Yeah, that's right.
And saying how hot Carrie is from the movie Carrie. And then we cleared up to the director that we were talking about Sissy SpaceX version where she was like 30 at the time.
Right, not
Chloe Grace Moretz, who was 16.
Right.
Oh.
No creepiness here, even though we've started.
That's how you bonded, and that's how you got the job, huh?
I think that's it. I think that's what it was.
So Leigh, we dragged you out to Middletown to shoot the Funhouse Massacre.
Yes, indeed.
Which, in case if you're still around Los Angeles, it is playing tonight at City Walk for the final night.
Oh, see it.
The final night tonight for the Funhouse Massacre.
If you haven't seen it, if you're so far away, like on the west side, and you just can't get in the car and drive that 30 minutes. Sorry, I had to say it.
We've had friends that have in other states who have driven 3 hours to go see it. From Kansas, my friend Casey Moran drove from Omaha to Kansas City.
Wow.
My buddy Corey, Curtis, and Byron.
Are we doing name shout-outs?
I'm just going to keep dropping. And Frank, they all drove to Columbus.
That'll be the whole show.
It's going to be like a rap song from the 90s. I'm just going to keep shouting out, yo, 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 Curtis Walker in the house.
Oh, God.
Anyways, let's throw back to I Talk Movies. Leigh!
Yes.
So how was it being in Middletown, stuck with us for 20 days?
If I wasn't there with all you guys, it would have been very challenging to try and mentally survive. Yeah, oh my god. Well, that's my first Cracker Barrel experience.
Yeah.
That's right.
Also my second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. I loved it.
Was that your first time ever in Ohio?
Yeah, it was my first time in Ohio.
What was your thoughts on that?
Well, I knew that when we got there that this isn't going to be all of Ohio.
Okay.
I knew it was called Middletown. So I knew that it was going to be a very small...
You're prepared.
Yeah, I was prepared for that.
So you didn't just blanket think that's Ohio. Kind of like Son-in-Law blanket just thinks the Midwest is all hillbillies and farming.
I got friends from Ohio that grew up in... I couldn't tell you now, but maybe Columbus.
I think
maybe Columbus.
Yeah.
Another friend from Wapakoneta.
Did we go to Columbus one night?
No, we went to Dayton.
We went to Dayton, that's right.
That's right, that was fun.
Yeah,
and there were cops everywhere.
Somebody got stabbed.
Someone got stabbed that night.
Yeah.
That's right, I forgot about that.
We were at, just so we
barely missed
get
that.
the audience context, we were at this dance club just drinking and having a great time.
It was a great upstairs
we
party.
left because it started getting a little crowded, and then we go to another bar, and when we come out, there's like 10 cop cars, and apparently someone was stabbed.
So
because
on the dance floor.
Remember we made the we walked in and they were like they were patting us down. I was like, what? We're in middle.
And there was no one at the bar at that time. And then once it started getting busier, we were like, let's get out of here.
Yeah. People get shanked.
And apparently, Dayton is actually one of the most dangerous cities to be in. So
there you go.
Straight out of Dayton.
Little Australian boy.
What's the craziest thing you've had to do on a set yet? Like
craziest how?
Like the weirdest thing they've asked you to do? Because I don't think we asked you to do anything too crazy on ours, other than maybe get attacked by a guy with a clown mask, which we won't spoil anything.
I would say the most fun thing I got asked to do was I got to ride a horse, but it was like this western town. It was a short movie, and I went for a couple of days before, and they taught me how to ride, and I'd always wanted to, and they had this town built, this old western town, and so we're getting shot at, and we're like galloping away. Me and my brother are like escaping this town, right? And we were doing it, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, that's great, Leigh. Let's do it again. This time, just don't smile so much." Because I just had this massive grin on my face. It's like, remember, they're trying to kill you.
I know,
like a little kid on a pony.
Riding this horse is so fun.
I just felt like such a badass. Yeah, exactly.
Now, did you have your Australian accent in that, or did you have a Southern accent?
Like a Southern thing.
Do your Southern. What's your Southern?
No, I don't think so.
Do an American for him.
Oh man, you could have warned me. I would have got warmed up. Give me some sentences. Ask me a question.
Yeah. So how'd you like Ohio?
Middletown. It was great. I had a great time. It's good. We went to Cincinnati. Went to the casino.
Fucking hate Australians for that. They're so good. Yeah. I can't. Like, you can flip into an American. I don't really hate
immediately.
You. I'm just jealous because Australians, like, that sounded when he first came into casting, we thought you were American.
I had no idea.
And then when you came back from the callback, you're like, all right, yeah, I'm really excited to be here, mate.
I can bring it out now.
And we're like
me.
What?
And then they tried to fire me, but it was too late.
No, they tried to fire you. See, that's the difference, though. Now, do you think it's because you grow up on American TV? Is that why it was so easy?
I think so. I think.
I try and do Australian, and it just sound like Paul Hogan or the voiceover for Outback Steakhouse.
Well, yeah, you don't.
Outback, Foster's, Australian for beer.
Because you don't hear it often. You know what I mean? Like 90% of what we watch in the film and TV is American. I think that helps. I also had a voice acting coach who told me once that apparently Australians, depending on just where our accent sits, it's kind of like neutral. It's easier to go off into the other way. So apparently, he said, I think British people tend to have a more difficult time, which is funny because Hugh Laurie has an amazing American accent.
They always have their lips. I feel like purse in a weird way whenever they're trying to do. It's still so like Christian Bale.
Yeah,
it's
right.
like it's sort of.
Maybe that's just a choice though for Christian Bale.
He must have friends.
Because sometimes there's certain actors that were like, "What? He's British or she's British," and you never know.
I can tell that Lauren Cohen, even though I love her on The Walking Dead, I can tell she's British just by how she kind of talks with her accent.
Oh yeah,
But I don't think Andrew Lincoln. No. He's dropped it in to a point where I'm like, I don't even remember what he sounds like.
Is that Rick? Is that the main dude?
Rick Carl.
That's right.
Carl. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. We're talking about son-in-law today.
It's Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgiving. This movie, in case you didn't know, takes place over Thanksgiving break, and it is a classic. I saw it when I was a kid, but I want to know, Leigh, when did you first see it?
Yesterday.
Yeah,
I saw it yesterday.
What's your opinion of it being Australian? And I assume that there's some cultural differences where because this is a very specific comedy. Where this comedy, I feel like, I don't know how Jonathan. I don't know how our audience feels. I'd love to know how our audience feels about this movie, but I loved it as a kid, and I went into it thinking last night when we watched it that I would hate it, and I ended up still finding it really, really funny for some weird reason.
Well, you remembered that time.
It's like a time capsule of the 90s in this specific pocket.
But the jokes really worked still.
For us. But I want to know, I want to know for you, though, how that felt.
It worked for me now, but I know I've lived in California for 5 years.
So you know California.
Right, so a lot of the jokes are geared towards the rest of America's idea of California in the 90s and people in California.
Because it's definitely not what California is.
But even though it is in the 90s, I feel like that's some people's idea still of California. Yeah, because when we go back to visit Ben's family in North Carolina, we're still looked at like we're the weirdos.
Pauly Shore is every Midwesterner's nightmare of what California is. And that's why it's so funny to me, because he is the most extreme version of a Californian on the planet.
Right.
His chicken quote, which, why don't we just do the chicken quote real quick? You guys have chickens? There we go. Yeah, this is an example.
Original recipe?
Chickens. You guys have chickens? Oh, I love chickens. Are they extra crispy original recipe?
What? He has no filter.
I want him to come back with us when we go back to the
When
Midwest
he first
again.
shows up,
That's what I want.
he starts pretending to surf the dirt. It's like
I was having trouble with that. Yeah.
they crammed every Californian cliche you can imagine into one character. But so now it's still kind of funny to you, or?
I did have moments. I sat down like, I'm going to enjoy this, and I did. And there were parts I caught myself being like, invested in the story, and being like, don't do that. And I was like, oh man, I'm so into this right now. But yeah, the good first maybe 30 minutes, I was like, okay, come on. Like I was kind of through it because it was
what was
so
tough?
over the top.
What was it that?
Just how annoying he was.
Okay.
Like he was. So much and so intense. I was having trouble like believing him as a real human,
Which is so funny because my opinion, I can see how somebody, an outsider's view of it. I guess we're all outsiders. None of us are Pauly Shore, but like viewing it and thinking he's not a real human. But for me, seeing other Pauly Shore movies,
and that's the same dude.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the most Pauly Shore's ever been, where he's just unleashed. And the reason I think we were cracking up so much last night is that it seemed like he was just being his unfiltered self,
right?
Which seems like not human because
you
Pauly
wouldn't
Shore's
do that in front of everyone. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't act that way.
I agree that they should have pulled him back a little bit here and
you
there.
could just tell though that he was having such a good time, and it almost like the camera lingered too long, where they should have yelled cut, where you could just see him smile, and it's almost like
he pulls a Jimmy Fallon like 6 times in the movie.
I'm pretty sure it's not easy to be an RA too, right? I think you got to meet some standards and stuff. So like the fact that he was the resident advisor, I was kind of like, hey, how's he getting away with this?
I feel like by movie standards, the resident advisors are always the biggest pothead morons. Like in movies, the RAs are never responsible. They're always Van Wilder and Crawl. Those are the two.
Those are the only ones that we know, right?
Those are the only two RAs that have ever existed in cinema.
In movie, yes, absolutely.
So
I eventually started to like him. Mm-hmm. When he started impacting the
What about your
family,
trauma though? When you were a kid, you said you saw part of this when you were a kid.
Yeah,
I don't want to bring dark stuff.
No, it's okay. It wasn't. It's
okay.
The cover always. I always saw like whether it was on the internet or whatever, or just walking in the video store, seeing it, whatever. I always had this thought of like, oh yeah, I think I've seen that movie as a kid because I have this kind of vivid memory of seeing the scene where they get caught in the barn
with Kelly Kapowski and Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
Right. Okay.
I'm gonna.
Very sexy. Both ladies
we'll
actually
get to that.
are very good looking.
And I remember feeling like kind of sick in my stomach. I must have been really little, and I would been like, oh no, and then getting in trouble and the cheating on the girlfriend and the regret and all that kind of stuff. I remember kind of having a kind of reaction to that and feeling kind of sick about it. And then I started watching this movie. I was like, oh, that's not that memory. That mustn't be that. And then when it gets to that part of the movie, I kind of had this like little
post-traumatic stress from son-in-law.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. But then it kind of helped it go away when I realized it wasn't as intense as I remembered it. I was like, it's fine. It's actually really swept under the rug.
It's like innocent, but also not innocent at all. Because they're both
really
like, they wake
intense.
up and they're like, what happened? And as a kid, you don't really know what pills they had. You're just like, oh, they probably had some kind of weird prescription pill. I mean, when I watched it, I was a kid, so I didn't understand that. But now knowing like, no, that's a date rape drug that they didn't put just one, they put like 12 in there.
We'll get to that part with the date when ex-boyfriend becomes date raping McGee with his hillbilly friend.
Oh my god!
And his hillbilly friend thinks it's hilarious. So that's a huge ridiculous.
Sure.
We're gonna get to that, but now. I think, can we put 3 minutes on the clock?
Oh gosh.
So here's how this works. Renee, you know this. Leigh, you're gonna find out. We're gonna try to do the plot in under 3 minutes.
Okay.
And we'll start. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Renee will start.
knows.
It'll go to you,
All
then
right.
it'll come to me. Then we'll keep bouncing back, and
But
then
I
I'll
just
probably
start with like a scene or something, right?
The beginning.
And then you,
usually-
I know, but like, do I
No.
continue the whole
You
thing?
can continue until you want to pass it off. That's fine.
I was just gonna do
Just do the whole thing. I'll just like
do one
Yeah,
scene.
there's Renee does the entire thing. No, I'll cut you off, or you can keep
Why
going.
can't I remember? Not Sally Jesse Raphael. What's her name?
Oh God, what is her name in it?
Why can't I remember?
She's a college co-ed. Her name
Remember
is.
her? It's very like simple down. That's the joke that Pauly Shore says. Don't we have one of the clips of her name?
Yeah, no, it's fine. We'll figure it out. Just call her Carla for now.
Carla Gugina.
Call her that. There we go. And ready in 5. Wait, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take it away, Renee.
Okay, Carla is this little Midwestern girl, and she's at her graduation for high school, and you see Tiffany Amber
Even though she
Thiessen
looks
sitting
30.
there, and then, yeah, no, she doesn't.
25.
She looks really young.
25.
I think she looks really young. And then you see Tiffany Amber Thiessen, who plays Kelly Kapowski on the great show Saved by the Bell. They're both sitting there, and you're like, ooh, are they in love? I don't know what's happening.
what she's
So then what? Okay, so then she's graduating, and then they all throw their hats, and then she's at her home, and you see her whole family, and her family's kind of silly, and there's all the stereotypical, like the grandpa who's really sweet and carving old wood.
Still a first thing.
Okay,
Come on.
okay, sorry.
30
And
seconds.
then
We've
go.
only covered a minute. Oh, okay. And then she's going to college in California. She gets to California, and already there's traffic. The dad's pissed. They get in there. She has a lesbian. She has a lesbian roommate.
Yes.
There's and then the RA is introduced by hanging upside down with his reindeer slippers on, and his name's Crawl. What's up,
name's Crawl,
buddy?
yeah.
Hey, don't leave me hanging, dude. And then they leave. They're like, this is really weird. And then Crawl comes in, creeping up like a porn director with his video camera, like,
Definitely.
oh, fresh meat, chicken teriyaki, buddy. And then they become friends. There's a big party that happens. He comes in with like melons on.
That's right.
Then they start to become friends. They go on a montage.
And he takes her to, like, she wants to leave, and he's like, no, you want to assimilate to California and get really into it. So he takes her on that nice, gets new clothes, a tattoo, gets a haircut, the whole thing, and now all of a sudden she's so LA and so
Super
California.
LA, real quick.
She's just like, woo, I love this. I'm never going back.
Takes
and then
one day.
the boyfriend calls, he's like, hey, I still love you. And she's like, what? Who are you again? Oh crap, that's right. Ah shit. All right, well, I'm going home for Thanksgiving. I'll see you in a minute. There's way cooler shit happening right now. See you later. Hangs up. And then she's like, oh crap, I'm going back. And Crawls doesn't know where to go. She's like, come with me. We're going to go back to Ohio. They go and they fly back.
South Dakota.
South Dakota. That's right. It looks like a private jet. I don't know why, but they fly back on a private jet.
Yeah.
They get out of the plane, and he's a psycho, and the parents immediately flip out and like, who is this weirdo? I thought it was a girl. What's going on? Go,
And
Renee.
then so the parents are really like, why did you bring this guy? This is so weird. But she's like, no, he's my friend. It's all good. He's
And then
changed me
the
and
ex?
made me better. So then the ex is there, and he's all confused, and he takes her to the barn. He steps in cow shit. He's like, why are you with this guy? And she's like, he's just my friend. He didn't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving. He's like, okay. So then they all go to, and then he's about to propose, and she's like, oh god, this is scary. So she runs to Crawl. Crawl's hanging out with her brother. They're talking about porn or something.
No,
Playboys.
yeah, computer
And so-
hacking.
Computer hacking too. And then she's like, oh my god, he just tried to propose. We need to think of something. He's like, what are you talking about? So then they get ready. They go out to dinner, and then he's like, and then they go to dinner, and then he's gonna propose again. And Crawl, she steps on his foot, and she's like, do something, Crawl. He stands up. He's like,
yeah, we're engaged.
We're already engaged. And then they're like, what? The whole family freaks out.
30
And
seconds.
then
Oh, okay. And then so now he has to pretend that they're engaged, and he has to try and assimilate to the family, and he gets to be a farmhand, and he goes around and he learns really quickly how to do
does.
everything because
Yeah.
he has that Crawl spirit.
Yeah.
And he kind of warms up to the family. He get how Carla's mama got her groove back when he
That's
teaches her.
right.
He does a makeover for her.
Saves
the family's
granddad.
starting
Like the gay best friend,
yeah,
basically.
saving the marriage of her parents and everything like that. Then eventually they start to fall for each other, and then there's the date rape scene, and then they realize that the boyfriend and the hillbilly were all in on it, and they get kicked out, and then they're all happy family, and they take a big photo at the end, and they're like, yeah, Crawl's the best.
Everyone say cheesy.
There we go. Okay, so it always gets that went off the
I was
rails.
too specific in the beginning.
I know. Renee
Sorry.
wasted the first 40
I started,
seconds
like,
on
In
this.
the opening scene.
So they're at this college graduation. They're all wearing blue and gold.
I'm pretty sure
and
it's
there's
like
there's
they
40.
threw their
boyfriend,
hands.
then the friend, and then Sally,
I'm
and
pretty-
then Steve, and they're sitting next to each other. And
I'm pretty
And
sure
you can
there's
tell there's something going on.
there's 62
You have to
students.
set
Definitely
that up.
62 students, not 61. You got all Rain Man on me. Oh my god, that was amazing.
Yeah,
that was
62,
amazing.
yeah.
All right, so
1993.
that's the plot of Son-in-Law, and
I really liked it. I just have to say that.
I had a blast.
As a kid watching it, I remember really liking the movie as a kid, but like, you know, it's the 90s, and so then when you're like, we're gonna watch this, I'm like, oh god, here we go, here's another Leprechaun, and then we put it in, and I was so excited.
It was really
we
fun.
were cracking up. I think
laughed
there's
out-
jokes that still work.
I
as
laughed
well.
out loud at the turkey. When like
Oh my
he gives the turkey a heart attack and they think he killed it, and then they yanks the feathers out and
That
back
is
inside. And
right.
Frick
Which-
flips out. I actually cracked up.
Which,
Like,
by the way, for the context of that audience, if you haven't seen Son-in-Law in a while, he goes the whatever the guy's name is, who's the farmhand, makes him go in there with a butcher knife. And he goes, well, kill him then. And he starts, he's like, turkey, come back here, whoa, bro. And then he
starts chasing him
And
around.
then he goes, oh. And the turkey just drops.
Dies.
Just faints.
What do you think it does?
And you're like, what? That makes no sense.
Yeah,
It's
it had a
amazing
heart
because
attack.
it had a heart attack from Pauly Shore's Crawl's really weird howl.
But they set it up because the grandpa has almost a mini heart. Do you think he's having a heart attack?
So there's something
they
with the
set it up.
decibel of Crawl's voice.
Right. That's
that kills
he-
people and also brings
that
them
could
back
be,
to life.
That could be another movie. They could have done that for Son-in-Law too.
By the way, my favorite moment of this movie is the Link cameo from Encino Man.
Oh, that's
Brendan
the best part.
Fraser's.
Yeah, and he's like,
Yeah.
"What?"
There's a scene in this
Yeah.
at the Halloween party
Yeah.
where Brendan Fraser is clearly Link from Encino Man.
Yeah, eats the frog.
And he's like, and he takes the frog, lights it, and then bites the head off. And then Pauly Shore looks at him and is like,
What?
No, couldn't be. And it lingers on him forever as he's like, huh? No, man.
I got a question.
Why didn't they just make him? I would love this to be a real sequel to Encino Man.
Well, I was wondering that because he's the same dude. He's just in college now. Like Kroll, I mean. Because I went and watched some of the stuff from Encino Man. It's like, whoa, he dresses the same. He acts everything about it's the same.
Hollywood, you know how they love to like typecast, and they
No, I
kind
know,
of
but
go,
it was like
that
they
character is perfect. Let's put it in every. I mean, if you watch a
No, no,
lot of his
well, and I
movies,
think it was-
Biodome is very similar.
Well, no, I think what it is that Encino Man was so popular, they threw that in as like a little, huh?
Yeah.
Huh, guys? Like, it's
It
almost
could
like the,
almost work.
Yeah,
Do you
it
know what I
could.
mean?
Because it's almost, what was that? There's another movie that's like an indirect sequel. I'm not going to remember now. That's fine. But
Funhouse 2.
Funhouse 2. Hashtag brain fart just happened for me. But no, the Link cameo was really great. For me, I'm trying to think of one of the earlier sound clips. This is one of my favorites where Pauly Shore is saying how he used to be a nerd. He shows Carla Gugino's character, which, Jonathan, if you can look up her name, that'll help my life.
Isn't it like Karen
it's
or
something
something
really.
with a K, I thought.
She's in everything.
No, I know Carla is her real name.
Yeah.
But so, first off, actually, let's say how creepy Crawl comes into the place. There's a clip where it's like creepy Crawl or video Crawl or something like that. Let me see the clips up there, Jonathan. Sorry, I'm asking you to do 17 things at once.
Oh, you have a daughter.
Wait. First off, he's introduced by "Don't Leave Me Hanging."
Charisma.
That's my favorite.
Don't leave me hanging.
Oh, Pauly Shore. That's how he's introduced to the father. Is he's hanging upside down, like we said, by his reindeer slippers.
But he's so nice still.
He's super friendly.
And I love that, like, even though it's supposed to be a very, like, hippie room, he's just hanging. He's not, like, smoking pot. He's not drinking. He's just
They never show him
hanging.
smoke pot or drink
Yeah,
or
he doesn't
anything.
do anything illegal. He's just literally hanging, and the dad is so taken aback, like, what is this California man doing? Like, he could just be working out.
My name's Crawl.
He's in that, like, the stirrup.
Yeah, I know, but I think anybody would be weirded out by
Everything
that.
in the room is pretty psychedelic
Everything's
too.
That's
super
true.
weird. Everything's
That is
just.
true.
It was probably because it's PG-13, and at the time there was some kind of MPA
Rebecca.
thing.
Her name's Rebecca.
Rebecca, that's
I
right,
was way
Becca.
off.
Becca.
Way off. I was way off.
So, Jonathan, can you play Charisma next? This is first off, before you play this, Pauly Shore, my biggest problem I had is that he's so lovable later on, but he's introduced as the creepiest man alive, where he comes down with this old school VHS camera and he's like, ooh, what's up, ladies? And he's like, ooh, fresh. He goes like, fresh meat. And he's just like such a pervy little weirdo. And here's the Charisma clip when he meets Rebecca.
Undiscovered country.
That alone.
A bit closer. Show me love. And cut. You have got charisma.
It is so off his character though, because the rest of the time, I mean, he does check out girls throughout the movie, but that's the only thing he does.
Question. So, Renee.
Yes.
Let's say at the bar, where we met at a karaoke bar at Sardos.
Very classy.
We met at Sardos
bar.
Karaoke Bar.
Okay.
And they have porn star karaoke there. We didn't meet on that night.
No, we did not.
But
I've
you could be
actually never been to
confused.
that night.
Let's say you're sitting there with your friend Courtney at the time.
Yes.
You're drinking your drink. I come up, instead of the way I came up, saying hello.
Right. Hello, I'm a
and
gentleman.
Instead, I come up and I say,
Charisma.
nope. How about the whole clip?
Undiscovered country.
And it almost sounds like something else.
No, I was about to get to that.
Discovered country.
Show me love.
It's definitely a double entendre.
And cut.
I think so.
They did it on
You
purpose.
have got charisma.
What would you have said?
Married you
I
straight
said,
away,
I'm
probably.
sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. I am having a conversation with my friend. If you'd excuse us, thank you.
But then I go, undiscovered country. It's,
Yeah, we probably wouldn't be married. It probably
It's
wouldn't
disgusting. It's clearly
Yeah.
a double
It's-
entendre they
it's
snuck in there.
clearly a double entendre.
Yeah, it's gross.
And then he says chicken teriyaki too, I believe I have up there, don't I? Chicken teriyaki, something about teriyaki.
Prime USDA choice teriyaki.
That's how he leaves her, by the way.
Yeah.
So he intros himself to her, but going undiscovered territory, and ends his first meeting with her with what?
Prime USDA choice teriyaki.
Which is just such a weird thing because then they become really good friends
Really
in like
good
the
friends.
next
then
scene.
immediately sees another girl and says he drops the same
Yeah.
one and
Yeah.
walks out. It's
Yeah.
like he's the
You have
worst. dude ever.
charisma.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because I don't know. I used to love Panda Express. all the time. I used to eat it when I in college. I used to go to Panda Express all the time. And when they first introduced chicken teriyaki there,
Are they sponsoring? Is that what you're
I
giving
was
a shout
so
out?
excited. I was so excited that I looked at the person scooping out the chicken teriyaki, and I said, I want double of that because that is
Prime USDA Choice Teriyaki.
They looked at me very creeped out.
They were very creeped out.
You know,
Yes.
yeah. I don't know if I warned you. We do that with sound clips.
No, I just as you were doing it, I remembered. I was like, I've seen videos before. I was like, okay, here we go.
I love it when we have guests on and I forget to remind, I forget to say, oh yeah, by the way, we throw people under the bus.
I almost forgot what you were doing. And
do you have anything with teriyaki? It's very hard. It's very specific.
The chicken teriyaki one is very specific. You have to just talk about food.
That's right. We can just leave it at
Or
Panda
women,
Express.
which I don't feel like doing that. Leigh.
I'm looking
okay,
right now.
so the creepiest thing ever. Then where's the something? Okay, so then now we're just going through the escalation of creepy and then to lovely. He becomes a lovely human being, a very just not a lovely human being, but he becomes. He plows his way into our hearts too by the end of the movie.
He definitely
But
did.
he starts off as a perv ball, and this is another example. I just want to keep on this track.
Is he supposed to change? Like, is it he's growing?
His arc. He has a huge arc.
He grows from being like total loving women
I couldn't even say
to
that.
like making a family happy.
I don't know. Well, say what you told me last night when you were watching it, though, that there's never really any sexual tension between the two of them.
It's basically like he's the gay best friend.
He is, and then he
feels
goes to
that
kiss her,
way.
and then when she's like wants the kiss back, I'm like, that's weird. Remember that
Like,
part?
Right?
It was
I was
not
like, where'd this
necessary.
come from? It's so
wasn't-
weird.
It wasn't necessary at all.
The
No,
weird-
I didn't want them to. I was like, oh, they're gonna get together
It's-
now. That's weird. I don't want that to happen.
No, you don't.
and
Okay,
then she
good.
gets mad though.
Yeah.
She gets
so
mad. And you're like,
mad.
I don't understand.
When
like,
she
if
gets
you-
mad at because they're
barn
found in the
thing.
barn with Tiffany Amber
I
Thiessen.
know,
really, she
but
should've
that's
just been
what I
like,
don't understand
"Oh,
because
shit, my bad.
he
I'll see you later."
already set it up where they're in the dressing room and he meets her and he's like, introduce me, or he says something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And so like obviously he already
Hey,
thinks
give me
she's-
that hot nug over there. He calls all
Yeah.
girls nugs. That's some tasty
Grindage.
nugs. Gonna munch on some grindage.
Oh my god.
Oh, in that context, that quote is even weirder.
Yeah.
Munch on some grindage.
Oh gosh.
Buddy. But so this is another clip where the clip is something just came up where they're on the beach. And this is when they're bonding, and she's gotten her really weird
She's
red hair.
Pretty Woman happened, and she
Yeah.
became total California girl.
Which, by the way, I love the cliches of California they have, where
They're rollerblading.
They're rollerblading. I've never been to a salon or barbershop in California where they cut.
Just a big chunk.
Where,
of-
by the way,
They
the most
don't trim it for-
racist Native American cameo ever, where they cut off a giant ponytail and then go.
yeah.
Like a Native American who just scalped a pilgrim. That was its reference to Thanksgiving.
That's how it
Yeah.
fits.
That's the
With
most
a Thanksgiving
racist point of
movie,
this
if you
entire
just do
movie.
that.
I fell off the couch when that happened. I was laughing so hard because it comes out of nowhere.
It really does. And then as it fades out too.
It's
As
just
it,
like-
it fades into the next scene. I'm like, what? They just like skipped
They
over
just,
that.
yep, they just
And then I
don't
love
even
that she wanted that
acknowledge
girl's
it.
hair, but her hair is really orange
hair's
instead
terrible.
of
Really
blonde.
bad.
Because
Like, I
Carla
want her
Gugino is
hair.
beautiful.
Oh, she's
And
gorgeous.
she's brunette. Very, very attractive. Then the red hair, really weird.
It wasn't red,
changes
but it
color
also
throughout the
wasn't blonde. It was like trying to when you as
It's
a
like a
female,
rotted
when
pumpkin
you,
orange.
When you go to color your hair, it takes a process. So it's literally they did like one process of.
It's like they were
bleach.
rushing into filming
Yeah,
and they're like, ah, shit.
Let's just do a quick bleach. It'll be it's turning orange. Okay, we'll just leave it.
Maybe
We're
they did it
gonna
on
use
purpose. Maybe she was supposed to be that young college girl. Like, let's just do something crazy real quick and get my hair done and a tattoo. And maybe that was all part of it. The bad hair job, you know.
She comes off the plane like she looks like a prostitute.
She does.
And it took no time.
She gets the
though.
reverse Pretty Woman, where Pretty Woman becomes pretty. She goes from being like wholesome to looking like a prostitute, buddy.
Yeah.
She looks.
Yeah, actually, that is kind of true.
You can
When she
see
comes
her
out-
bra
see
through the
her
mesh
top.
top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But I feel like it's supposed to be. She's just more like
Free, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know how like much of that is.
I like how the dad doesn't even
California.
recognize her at all. Like with the plane,
No.
he's like looking at her, and her mom. The mom's just like, "Is that her?" He's like, "Huh?" And he's like looking back over here. It's like that's clearly her.
Is that my
And
daughter?
she's like, "Oh my god!"
Ugh. But the last thing of the creepy before he redeems himself at the party is the something just popped up. He's on the beach. He has binoculars and he's just scoping out girls with Rebecca. And this is what he says.
Wow, she is fantastic. Touch me. Touch me. Hey, over here. Some just came up.
Can we also talk about that right before that when he pulls the beer out of the thing and drops it into on her crotch, and then he's like grabs it and she's like, hey, she's like, yeah, what?
Did you like it?
Yeah, something like that. I was like, whoa, yeah, I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
That's why.
So he's his friend, but he kind of oversteps, which
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, we all kind of
We
have.
know those
we
people.
have friends.
We all
I
have
won't
those
say
friends.
names, but we all have friends who say things that are very inappropriate, and you're like,
I feel like
get
it's
away
always
with it.
dudes that do. I don't know any. I've never
Girls,
I've never
yeah,
had
well.
really a girlfriend. Have you? Not like that I dated, but like a girl who's a friend who's weird and like, hey, what's up? I'm gonna be flirty. Oh, of course, I never had a girl that was a friend who talked like Pauly
Pauly
Shore.
Shore.
But I feel like it's something specifically with dudes where like if they're friends with single girls, they'll. I think what it is, and this is coming from me being like the most nervous man around women at all. So I'm just surmising this. I haven't used that word in like 17 years since word power in English. But no, I'm just kind of deducing the fact that it would be.
Now he's bringing out that
it would
word,
be
too.
I'm just going to keep bringing up smart
You're
words.
so clever, dude.
Hashtag smart clever words. I think it's just that they're trying to kind of like feel their way in. Like maybe this is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what it is. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Just trying to
I always just talked about their ex-boyfriends and like was a shoulder to cry on. Maybe.
you went the friend route.
I went the
Other
friend
guys
route.
go like the, hey, you want to have sex today? Okay, I'll try
Just
tomorrow.
kidding.
Just kidding.
I'm your
Unless
friend,
you're cool with it.
but I
Oh,
will
never mind.
not be your friend later.
Or just kidding, unless you want to.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a
so
Nelly song
that's-
which says that.
Man, if I could go back and tell teenage Ben.
Oh, jeez. So many things. We could go back and tell.
So many things. So many things. That's all right.
But I find it very interesting that, like, so she wants to leave, and he's like, "Let me show you the ways of California," which
Yep.
you're like, "Okay, that makes
That's
sense."
cool.
She hasn't really seen California, but all she sees is a store, a salon, and she blades in Venice
Oh, the tattoo parlor.
and the tattoo parlor.
With
so
the
you're-
creepiest
Angeles.
tattoo parlor ever, where he says, "You pick it's the M
You pick it and I stick it.
clip M."
Which is that a
M?
saying for tattoo artists?
There we
or?
go.
Pick it, I stick it.
It's
Flea
weird
is
because
that's Flea, right?
yeah, that's Flea. He's the.
It's Flea.
I
From
would
Red Hot Chili
be
Peppers.
very concerned. I'm getting Hep C from this tattoo artist. I mean, it seems like they don't really.
Yeah.
There's no
And I
sanitation
don't
there.
think that's really a saying. You pick it, I stick it.
No,
I feel
it
like
is.
that could work.
It is in gymnastics. Yeah, actually.
Stick it is when you
Yeah,
land,
yeah, yeah.
and you land
no,
it really well.
Yeah, what they
In pole
you were a
vaulting?
gymnast. Yeah, at one
Well,
point.
of
yeah.
sorts.
Of sorts. Yeah. I mean, I took gymnastics for like
Oh, yeah.
a week, but I remember my coach.
You majored in gymnastics for like one semester,
for like one
bro.
semester, bro. My coach would say, you know, if there was a play, I could hit something if somebody else picked it for me.
Okay.
Right.
So my phrase as a kid was always in gymnastics.
For that week.
You pick it, I stick it.
My coach was always very proud of me because they picked the spot and I would
You
stick
did it
it.
again, and it wasn't until right at the end that I realized you were doing that shit. I was like, dude, what the hell? This dude's telling this whole story. I was like,
Okay,
oh,
I'm just
okay.
gonna keep
I never
about
did
it.
gymnastics.
That's
you know.
amazing.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I'm just terrified that I'm going to say something and then it's not going to be clear what clip. It's just going to be something random. Be like, oh, that sucks.
That would be actually really funny is if you're trying to say that you
actually
pick
would
it
be
and
a fun
stick it and
game.
then he changes it on
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
That's the worst thing you can have. I was a best man. No, I can't say that because then if I implicate somebody, it's again. No, I realized that it was going to be a fictional story, but I could implicate my friend. So never mind.
Yeah,
I was going to do
well.
something at a strip club with you pick it, I stick it, and that's just
Gross.
too on the nose.
Yeah, that would've
You
been-
got something?
Well, no, but I was gonna say something with a guy.
Do
but-
it.
Well, no,
Who
because
cares?
that was
Just
you
go.
at the strip club.
Just go.
No, well, you guys, I have to tell you something. I used to have an addiction.
Oh man,
I used to have an addiction, and I
my
used
gosh.
to do a lot lot of heroin.
this got
A lot.
weird.
Okay.
It was really, it was a dark time for me.
It's dark time for everyone.
might be the darkest improv yet.
And when I went to the dealer one time, and I was shaking,
Went
and,
to
and I
the
was
dealer.
convulsing, and,
Oh,
and there was a row of needles, and he said to me,
You pick it, I stick
Man,
it.
I'm wishing I had just let you slide and not do that one.
It's like,
that wasn't the one, but I was gonna say
For the
something about
rec-
like a guy. and
that
then
wasn't
I was,
that wasn't an improv, by the way. Was it?
I was really
For
just
the record,
coming
guys,
clean.
she came clean a while ago. Oh, sorry to all my heroin
Listen,
addict fans out
sorry, I don't
there.
think they're watching. It's alright.
Wasn't
Don't
there,
do drugs.
wasn't
That's
there
what
the,
point of the story is.
Wasn't there an old toy that you would call the stick it or the flip it that you would? What? Oh, skip it. Skip
skip it.
The
Oh,
skip it.
yeah, bop it.
Oh,
The
if
bop.
only the clip said you
What's
pick it,
that
I
different
skip
one?
it.
Bop it.
well, you had to twist it, stick it, bop it, that thing that had we
Bop it did your
Yeah, I know
hair,
what you're
right?
talking about.
No.
Bop- What's the thing with your hair?
Wait, where you put it on your ankle?
You're thinking
That was
of
the skip it, right?
Yes, God?
Skippo.
Skippo? I think it's
Skippo's
Skip
a
It.
card game.
Bop It is the toy. Skippo is the card game.
Yeah, Skippo's a card
No.
game.
Look it up. There's
Skip
something
It.
called Skip It
where you put it against your foot.
where
and
you have to have an abnormally small foot to
I had one.
to get it in there, and then you swing it around and skip over
Which
it.
was such a genius way to like have your kids
yeah,
get
I
rid of
remember
energy back in the day.
And also if they had no
actually
siblings or
lose
friends,
weight
just
because it
swing
had like
around.
a meter. It had a meter and
For
it would
only
tell
children
you,
everywhere, just
it would
skip
tell
in
you
place.
How many times you went? So you're just sitting there skipping.
It was
for
the
like
original
hours.
Fitbit.
Yeah,
That's what it was. It was the
true,
original
yeah.
Fitbit stole from Skip It.
I want to skip it for Christmas.
Your leg would be
That's what I
so
want.
good.
All right,
Generation
you
of
heard
kids.
it here.
I'm gonna sit in our workout room and just skip it. But I can only do it on one foot. You can't do the opposite.
Yeah.
Almost, you know what
Is
I mean?
one of your legs more developed than the other? I'm picturing like a generation of kids who
but
just
it's
have
like,
one.
it's
No, but
it's
you're-
almost
I see what you mean.
know
I can only skip
know-
it with my right
I would only
foot.
know how to skip with my right foot.
Exactly.
But
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
how would you do it? Anyways,
This is so
completely off
crawl of
topic.
us. This is so crawl
So
of
off
us.
topic.
So
Skippage.
skip edge, buddy.
Rip the
So here's the thing. So then we get to we've gotten to the point now where he
changed her.
He changed her.
They
But
got off
one of
the
my
plane.
favorite quotes is where he explains, he shows her a picture and of him how he used to be really,
That's
and
right.
she's like, she's not very nice about
Not
it.
at
She's
all.
like, you were such a nerd.
And you can tell it's one of his old headshots, right?
You
Like
can
one of his
tell-
old
totally-
headshots back in the 90s.
It's got to be like
I
his
think it
old like
is.
commercial headshot,
Yeah.
like Pauly
I
Shore's.
thought he looked cute. He just looked very
Yeah.
academic.
He looked very much like Harold Ramis on Ghostbusters.
He
He
did.
looked
He did.
totally
He
like
totally
yeah.
did.
He looked like he could have played the TV
That's his
version of
dad
Ghostbusters.
in real life, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
But so there's
I
the
almost bought that.
where is it the drop the dew guzzled some guzzled
that's a
some
good
brew.
one.
Yeah. So this is how she's like, how'd you change? And he explains what he did to become the cool crawl that he is now from Frank or whatever his name was.
Becca, I tossed the spectacles. Grew the dew, guzzled some brew.
Oh, wow. It's musical how he said that, isn't it?
Guys, just so you know, if you ever want to be cool, you just toss the spectacles, drop the dew, and guzzle some
No,
brew.
grow the
Grow the dew, and guzzle some brew.
You gotta learn how to say it first.
So you grow out your hair and just drink a lot, and you become this fine specimen that is Crawl, who at the moment is dressed up like a banana boat woman with
Yeah.
like the whipped cream bra and
like a carnival
Yeah.
kind of.
I liked that for being in California, like it showed already like she has the lesbian roommate who never comes back.
they never come back.
Yeah.
You think that they're going to be a main character.
You have a guy who's a total hippie, fun-loving, dressed as a woman. Like these would definitely be things in the 90s in the Midwest where it would be like, what?
Yeah.
People are weirded out, and they're pushing it in the son-in-law.
They do push the limits, and I think that, dare I say, this movie could be remade.
I don't know though. It's pretty.
No. I mean, if it were to be made now, the only way this would work
Yeah.
is if he was the gay best friend, and that would be awesome because I feel like he does that. Like we talked about, he does the makeover, and he's like, "You're nasty, girlfriend, girlfriend."
He pretty much is the gay best friend.
yeah.
Only they didn't want to go that far with it. I feel like they were like, "Oh, I don't think
Yeah.
the studios will like it. Let's just make him very."
I mean, they push it as
Smurf-like.
far as they Smurf-like. Yeah, they push it. Yeah.
Smurf-like. That's what they wrote for the breakdown
Smurf-like.
when they were casting the role.
There's only one woman in Smurftown. There has to be some. It's like prison, but you get one girl
Oh
in it.
my god.
Poor Smurfette.
And every
I
once in a
know,
while,
poor
Gargamel
thing.
comes around. Oh man, that got weird and awesome.
I do like one thing that they always did a callback joke of how many semesters he studied a certain
Yes.
thing where he's like, I studied this,
Studied
for
karate for
Karate.
two
Yeah.
semesters.
Yeah.
And so like that was, and I didn't really catch on until later in the movie, and then I wonder if I went back and watched it now, how many times he did it in the
This is
beginning.
definitely a movie that deserves repeat viewings over and over again.
That's what we're doing on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's just
Family, come on
over. We're gonna watch Crawl and do some chickens, buddy.
Maybe Encino Man. Maybe
You're
we
doing
should watch
Encino
that.
Man instead.
So there's so many. There's
do
so
live in
many.
Encino.
I want to just keep going through the plot because there's so many sound clips I picked, but I feel like it'll take forever. The best thing is when. So then Crawl comes to the Midwest. The family's all creeped out by him. For obvious reasons,
Right.
because
He's a weird freak
He
guy.
surfboards on their dirt,
Yeah.
and makes chicken noises and does every single thing that could possibly.
Just like no social filter whatsoever.
He doesn't even try to be.
It's even cool
No.
if he's like, is that kind of wacky dude? But to like, he just got there to meet the family,
Yeah.
and he's just like.
This is who I am.
I think the parents in real life would have been like, oh, okay, he's a special needs. Like you should have told us like, okay, cool, now we understand. That's fine. All right, Krog, yeah, have fun. Like, yeah, you want to see the chickens? Like, yeah, cool. Like that's probably what would have happened.
Yeah.
I mean, in real life, if somebody comes, you're just like, this person is insane. There's no.
Yeah.
That's the one thing where maybe he should have one out of several things. Maybe he should have built to the insanity, let him.
Really
it might not have been his choice though. It might have been like, yeah, give us more of that. Do more of the Pauly Shore thing. More of that.
How about it? It's just catching some fresh waves. It's just so funny. And then the grandpa when he mistakes him for somebody. I
have no idea what he was referencing.
Wine coolers guy.
Someone maybe on the label or something like that.
And he's
was it like Mike's Hard Lemonade or something? That's what I was
That's the first thing I ever got drunk off of was Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Mine was Zima's.
But that's the same thing. We're in the same family of shame for what we got drunk off of for the first time.
That's probably why my stomach can't handle any kind of alcohol like that.
Well, yeah, because you're hungover from more sugar than anything.
I never had hangovers though back then.
I hope to be young again.
I hope to be young and not have
now
hangovers.
I drink more than 4 drinks the next day. I'm like, ugh, fuck, what did I do to myself?
Can't move.
Well, this week's a write-off. I'm just going to stay in my bed.
I'm going to watch Son-in-Law 3 times.
So wait, let's talk about the brother for a second.
Yeah. Oh, from Sandlot.
Pauly Shore
is
trying to make friends with everyone, and he actually befriends the brother. And it's interesting the conversations that they have because you're like, that
about
is
Playboys and computer hackers
and milking the cow.
Well, that's one of my favorite science moments where the brother's like, I can't figure out the computer, and it's one of my favorite things in 90s, specifically 90s movies. Whenever they hack something, it looks like no computer I've ever seen in my life. The movie Hackers, when they're hacking and it's this weird Virtual Boy landscape.
Maybe that is what it looks like. You just don't know how to hack.
There's no computer ever.
No.
And whatever Pauly Shore types into that.
And the little lines that come together in the random blacked out circles.
I just love the typing. The typing always sounds like super fast, you know?
Let me just hack this.
The typing of it
But what he says is even better when he's like, dude, the brother's like, how'd you figure this out? This is when the brother bonds for the first time. The hacking quote, best hacker ever, I think is what I labeled it.
How'd you do it?
Your PC got harshed, right? Because your system heap sent the wrong parameter. So I toasted the data directory, tweaked the PRAM, and reglazed your subroutine.
None of that
is real. PRAM?
I don't know anything about computers, but I don't think there's a subroutine, and I don't think there's a PRAM.
So all of a sudden they show Kral is a really smart guy. He knows computer and tech, and then they never bring that back ever again.
It's just because he studied it for once.
Something's gonna work with that, and then
Oh no, because there's no connective anything in this movie.
I mean,
everything just leads to the next joke in this movie. That's it.
Except for the fact that he just happens to be an awesome crop thing pilot. You know what I mean? Carves his name into the crops. And you think he just and he gets other things like, you can't be mad at me because that was awesome.
Now was that a cameo? Because I thought it was a cameo when they show the pilot flying the plane, and then you see the name, and obviously it was to show what he did.
Oh no, it's not. I don't think so.
For some reason, I thought it was a cameo because he's listening to John Denver. But no, they do a close-up.
Oh, that'd be amazing
if
we rewatched it and it's John Denver in there.
I was wondering if that was going to be someone famous. Because I was like, why is this following the pilot for a while and then they show the crawl thing? Wow. But I'm like, doesn't this guy have to be
I don't think it's John Denver. I think it's just that he was looking like, oh, it's crop circle. It's a crawl circle. Hashtag crawl circle, buddy. So then he assimilates to the family. But then the proposal scene is hilarious. We were talking about this, how... Explain how you thought it was
Travis, right?
Travis's most awkward proposal ever from across the room.
If you're gonna propose to someone that you love and you haven't seen him in, what did you say, 3 months? Why would you go follow her into a barn? Don't you think you'd be like, hey, let's go take a walk?
He has 3 terrible proposals in this movie.
The worst proposals. And so he takes her into the barn. He steps in cow shit. She's 6 feet away, and then he's like, hey, will you marry me? The one when he's further is when he's at the other table. So
the big banquet for the families, and he stands up and he's like, somebody really special to me. Will you marry me? And he's like 20 feet from her and crawls next to her, and she's like, ah! And then that's when Kral hops up and proposes, or says he already proposed.
I don't know why she was so nervous about Travis. They don't really build on that either, because she's really loves him and Travis wants to have sex, and she's like, no, I want to wait. And then she moves
and then
California.
Out of nowhere he's a total asshole, if you notice. And when she moves to California, I noticed when I was dragging sound clips today, that when he picks up the phone, he's like, what is it, Teresa or whatever Tiffany Amber Thiessen's character was. He goes, God, not again. I told you I'll be right there.
He's been cheating on her.
They insinuate in that scene that he's been cheating on her.
Like the whole time.
Which is so weird that he's so adamant about proposing.
Even the graduation, like you pick on a vibe.
Because he really wants to have sex with her. So that was the thing. Is that so the bad guys.
Because he's so rich, he can just buy a ring. He's Texas oil or South Dakota
Travis,
oil money.
You want a girl to say yes, you have to propose at least, in proximity to them.
The best proposal is the third one. After Crawl and Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Kelly Kapowski are found in the barn, and she's so distraught, and he's invited back haphazard for no reason to the family dinner.
No, he's not invited back.
He just invites himself.
He's literally there. They wake up.
Oh, he's a sociopath. I was just thinking about it. He's literally, even the part when he like drugs her and he's like, you're so low, like makes you feel. He's literally a sociopath.
He's the worst human being ever.
She's so like lost and confused, and like she played it really well. I felt so bad.
This guy goes on to be a suspect on Criminal Minds SVU or Law and Order SVU. That's what this guy should be.
Like,
yeah,
he is.
Sure, he did.
That gets so. That's something they gloss over completely. Is the fact
why is he there anyways? Did he stay the night to set them up? Him and Theo set it up, and he stayed there. Like, why was he there in the morning time?
It's so weird. Well, and the whole fact that, like, we're going to throw your bachelor party and nobody thinks it's weird that the ex-boyfriend who wanted to propose is throwing it.
They punched him in the face like 24 hours ago.
Which, by the way, oh, God, let's do the punch in the face.
Oh, so good.
Because when Pauly Shore gets punched in the face, it's the funniest reaction. He collapses to the ground and makes this sound, but what's even weirder later on is that he knows karate really well.
Yeah, right.
Which doesn't connect to this moment, but this moment I rewound twice because it's so funny. Ready? Punch.
Why did you do that?
It's so pathetic.
It goes on forever.
A long
About
time.
it though is like in most movies when someone gets punched they get knocked out and they go back, but he like went forward and then
like,
just fell straight down.
Which is more like real life, really.
He just does this weird kind of like his knees buckle out from under him and he's just like
Like it kind of
And at first it's so funny. And then it lasts so long that you genuinely feel bad for him
you're
because
like,
he's just like so pathetic on the ground there.
I know.
And
But then again, he was't ready for it that time. When the karate thing happened, the guy was distracted. He stood up. He's like, bah! He did like the Rafiki from Lion King. He's like, bah, bah. Yeah.
Can we hear that one more time just because I love it so much?
Why did you do that?
You think it would end there? It sounds like we put it on repeat, like an auto-tune remix of it.
Yeah, loop or something.
Oh my God,
great.
that's so funny to me.
So yeah, Travis is a pretty
He's a
shitty
sketchy
guy.
human being. That's the thing and why is Tiffany Amber Thiessen's character? She's so naive. She's like. She shows up and she's randomly the bartender at the bar and also the stripper
at the bar. And why aren't there any other women at this bar? What kind of bar does she work at? She never says it because she invites Rebecca and Crawl to come when they first introduce her.
So weird.
Is she a stripper or they just get her to
she's a
strip?
bartender.
Well, no, she's just but I mean, she becomes an impromptu stripper for her.
And she's like, I didn't even get to.
I was gonna
I just
dance.
got started.
I just got started.
That's what she
By
said.
the way, Renee probably was not happy with me during that scene because Kelly Kapowski was a huge crush for me back in the day.
She's gorgeous.
And when that happened, I was like,
both women in the movie are gorgeous. I get it. But Travis was pretty good looking. I'm not gonna
Until
lie.
he gets all rapey.
Until he gets rapey, and then you're like, ooh.
You're like, oh my
It's just,
God.
it's so funny though how like nowadays you couldn't just gloss over a plot line like that in a movie.
No.
In the we talk about this a lot on the show. How like in the 90s. There's an innocence or just a kind of like
no one even gets up at the dinner table.
No, nobody's
Everyone
even
just sits down and lets it all play out.
Yeah.
Like the fighting, the date raping,
Nope, they just
like
sit back.
I thought you were engaged to my daughter, but you had sex with a girl in our barn. No reaction. It's just like everyone's just like, before I get to say anything, you guys are on to the next thing. I'm just gonna let you guys keep talking and like, oh, it's all
nobody.
good? Okay, cool.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Except the grandpa. The grandpa says this after he finds out about Travis. This is the most heightened emotion the family gets to after all the really, really shady sociopathic stuff Travis has done.
I gotta tell you, Travis, it really tweaks my melon. See a buff bro like Crawl here get wheezed on by a greasy scumbag like you. So you just chill.
Did Pauly Shore give him a line reading for that one? I think he had to have.
That's the message we give this guy, the family. You just chill. That's it.
And then Tiffany Amber Thiessen, I love that we don't know her name. She goes
Kelly
and
Kapowski.
She's like, I'm gonna drive him home, and then the mom's like, wait, no, we should invite Hurst to have dinner with us.
The fact that she was cheating on her the whole time just never gets brought. She's like, oh, we're cool.
Yeah.
It's like, you
And
don't
then
know,
they
but
just
she's been banging.
take a family photo at the end.
Yeah.
And then
Cheese!
little brother's coming to scoot next to her, and
why
she's
would
kind of
you?
like, hi. She's not even like weirded out by that at all.
And if this was a romantic comedy, which you kind of feel like it is, but not really.
Right.
Because we were talking about how they build up to that kiss earlier, and then it never transpires, and then you would think that they would try and cram in some sort of romantic moment at the end, and I'm so glad they didn't. Because it's so much funnier and it's so much more realistic that it's just like, he's just a good friend.
They also learn their lesson.
No, they learn nothing.
She gets away with the whole thing.
Yeah.
She's like,
Right.
she's like, oh, and he like covers for her. He's like, oh, you know what? We're gonna figure it out. We're not gonna get married right away. Giving her the space of time, so when they go back, they can say, they can call up and say, look, we're not gonna get married anymore. It's all good, but we're all friends.
Yeah.
But that's totally bullshit. Like
Wrong lesson.
she lied.
No lesson.
She never came clean.
She's learned she can lie to her family and get away with it from here on
I don't
out.
think the problem is I don't think there's any kind of arc in any of the characters.
There's no-
She's lost
Yeah.
in the beginning,
The dad
and
has
she's
one.
just as lost in the end, kind of, right? Because he saves her.
or-
Crawl is like,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? He's the one that stands up and he's like, no, we're gonna, and she's just like, so what does that say for her character?
It says a lot about the perception of women in the 90s. But they need Crawl to save them.
They need Pauly Shore in every
the
movie.
dad had the biggest arc, probably.
Yeah, the dad, totally.
Good to know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're good. We're gonna go for a few more minutes, and we'll wrap it up. But the thing that's interesting to me about God, I lost my train of thought completely.
Sorry.
Where were we talking about?
We're talking about females in the 90s and needing Pauly
this
Shore
movie
to
should
save
have.
them.
Whenever I lose my train of thought, I'm just gonna whimper like Pauly Shore. Why did you do that?
Should be your phone
Can we
ring.
just pull that one part? Why did you do that? If you can pull that while I talk about other stuff. There should have been one more scene to this movie. It feels like it
Yes,
just drops
absolutely,
off.
yeah.
I would have loved to have seen like a 6 months later.
Yeah.
And that they're just best buds now. And then
But we never finished watching the credits.
And
What
the
if
family,
there's
and
a
the family still
surprise?
likes him, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you come back for the holidays?"
maybe
We're
there's
friends.
a post-credit scene
Oh
like a
my
Marvel
gosh, that
movie and we missed
out.
it.
That would be.
Do you think there
I
is?
didn't fast forward
If
to
there
it.
isn't, they should do it now.
They should do a director's
Where
cut.
are they in 2015? That would be awesome.
Because
He's dead
this
somewhere.
movie.
Oh no.
This.
I love Pauly Shore.
I love Pauly Shore too. I think
No, I
Encino
meant the
Man's-
character, not the actor. I feel
like he.
No,
would,
I
I think he'd be like a yoga teacher.
Oh yeah.
I think
that's
he would
true.
be
Crawl
like
is totally-
in Silver Lake, like doing some.
He's got his own like organic.
I like this. We should
fresh
let's play
produce
Where Is
market.
Everybody
Yeah,
now?
so
He's a
Crawl,
yoga
he's a
teacher.
yoga teacher.
Travis is locked up for date rape.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, among
he's-
other things.
Among other
Among
things.
murder and probably murdering the
Yeah.
person.
He's
yeah.
gonna be in Funhouse too. He'll be one of the
He's gonna be one of the
characters.
characters.
So what is Rebecca? What is she doing?
Rebecca, I
She
think
probably graduated. What was she studying? I don't even know.
no
English.
idea. I think she has her own hair salon now, and she does
yeah.
really orange hair for everybody.
Yeah.
That's not a good ending
Okay,
for
what do you think
her.
then? You give Rebecca a good ending.
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe
She got struck by lightning, got some cool powers.
Maybe
and like,
There we
she
go.
realized that she finally needed to start using her voice for good, and she decided to go to law school.
And then Legally Blonde
And then
is the
jury
sequel.
duty.
But then that didn't work
And then
out.
the movie Jury Duty, she's the lawyer when Pauly Shore is in the jury.
But then she realized she wanted to like be more similar to LA and keep that thing going on. So she used her like law knowledge to become an agent and in Entourage. And then she's like, the new
Ari Gold, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It all ties.
right, yeah.
Who knew that Son-in-Law was the beginning of so
Oh, what about
many
the brother?
franchises?
We have to
Whoa,
do the
man.
brother.
The brother, I think he just grows up to be a regular at strip
No, he
clubs.
became-
Yeah, I was gonna say he's the owner of a strip club.
Didn't he grow up to be like a famous wrestler, the Great Hambino?
That's
what it was, right?
There you go.
I like it.
I like that much better than him being the owner of a strip club.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Coming to the stage. Anyways, do we have that? Why did you do that? Did you pull it?
Why did you do that?
It's kind of messed up that that's your favorite thing.
So I like to sleep in a lot, and Renee always wakes up before me, and. This morning, she knew I had to do a few more things before we got here to do the podcast and everything. So I'm sleeping, I'm sound asleep, and she just takes a pillow and whacks me in the face with it. And I looked up at her and I said,
Why did you do that?
I did. And we can cut it after that.
Well, Ben told me last week that he was going to have Leigh and I on as co-hosts since Josh Macuga isn't here today. And I just looked at him and I was really annoyed and I said,
Why did you do that?
Because Renee hates coming on the show.
totally. I like being here. I just thought it would work for right now.
Leigh, got anything?
Look, I work with birds. I don't know if you guys know. You guys know.
Yeah.
I live with like exotic parrots, and I, groom them and raise them and stuff like that. And I've been pretty lucky not to get bitten. But the other day, I got bitten on the thumb by this big macaw, and you'd think being Australian I'd be macho and very good, but I didn't. And I reacted when he bit me. I was like,
Why did you do that?
I can't top you getting bitten by a big macaw. Let's see. Do we have any other sound clips that I really want to hear?
Wasn't there one with the brother?
Yeah.
Not like a real tit?
I feel like.
I like that one. Or Buff the Wood when they're doing
Buff the Wood.
dancing.
Oh, this is one of my favorite moments when they do he goes to a square dance, which you said you've always wanted to go to a square dance.
I lived
So
in
for our
Kentucky.
anniversary this year, I'm going to take. Yeah, you lived in Kentucky. Have you ever seen a square dance in a barn?
Never went to anything like this, and that's really disappointing.
Do you think Louisville is just anti?
I think they are. They're like, we are not like.
We're not.
We're
We're
not
not South.
inbreds.
We're
We're
not
not
the South.
They're
They are.
They are totally. But it's funny because it's one state below Ohio, and Ohio's north, right? Or East Coast even considered.
Midwest.
I don't know. They consider themselves everything basically. But then you go
Not East Coast.
down to Kentucky, and they're like, we're the South, and you're like, how do you have accents? You're literally one state
Yeah.
below Ohio.
You cross 40 minutes, suddenly it's like, hey, how you doing? Welcome to Kentucky.
Yeah.
What?
So interesting.
Where did this come from? I was just in
But
Dayton.
so yeah, no, I've never done the dancing, and I really want to go. So
But
that would be a good date night.
Our anniversary this year is square dance. I
No,
took you to a
not
monster
anniversary,
truck
just a
rally
date.
one year.
pretty
Just
funny
a
they
date
start
night.
line dancing in Encino Man too.
I think
Maybe
I think
that's
it's
a
a thing in the
yeah.
90s.
Pauly Shore
Just that
loved-
Pauly Shore just has
It's like line dancing.
he has
Every
in his
movie
contract.
Yeah.
line dancing.
Yeah.
So Pauly Shore hops up on stage when the guy takes a break. He's like, I need to go get a drink or licorice or something. I don't know. And Pauly Shore hops up and does his own version of a line dance the only way Crawl could.
Now, grabbing up whose cones are busty, we sir gig and make it crusty.
I don't want to know what that means.
Grab your dude, don't use roughness, moving close and groove his buffness. Buff the wood, come on, buff the wood.
I'm gonna say
He
this
says,
Ben.
grab a nug whose cones are busty. Tweeze that something, make it crusty.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't want to
that
know.
sounds
I don't want
Which-
to know what that means.
Everything about that.
Don't want to know.
So
what-
a nug is a girl. I
Nug
guess.
is a girl.
Okay, gotcha.
Cones are busty.
I figured that one.
Tweeze the something and make it crusty.
Oh gosh.
That's gross.
Ugh.
That's a gross
You know what?
thing to
I
say.
think what happened is, and
could've
Jonathan,
been
I
like-
don't know if you're gonna know what sound clip to play after this, but I think the director was pretty disgusted by that afterwards.
Oh my God, yeah.
And he just looked at Pauly Shore and he just looked at him with disgust and was like, "Why did you do that?" So I was trying to say,
Why did you do that?
that's what the director said, and Pauly Shore was like, "I'm Pauly Shore, I do whatever I want." But
I'm pretty amazed that people in the audience or that were dancing were able to follow along.
Right,
I'm like,
yeah.
well, I didn't know what the hell he was saying, but like,
does
I
that
get
mean?
it. Like, rub your
Buff the
butts
wood.
the
Buff
wood.
Buff the wood.
That's pretty
And everyone was
hilarious.
loving
Oh my
it.
god! Oh my god! I think the thing right now is that most of the GMP audience is probably looking at us right now and just with scrunched up faces going,
What?
"Damn it!" Okay, let me try that again. Ready? So the GMP audience is probably wondering why we chose this movie, and maybe some of them are thinking right now,
Why did you do that?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Thank you, Jonathan, for no dead air there. I'll tell you why. Because Pauly Shore is a comedic genius, and this is a classic
I want
of
to see
modern
a comeback.
American
I want to see a
cinema.
comeback.
I do.
Would be
to
nice.
Pauly
I
Shore.
really-
I want to
think
cast
Pauly Shore
Pauly
needs-
Shore
I
in
wanna-
something.
Yeah, let's put him in the next
Let's
movie.
put him in Funhouse too. We have no control. But let's put. I
Let's
want
pretend we
to.
have control.
I do.
He's in. You're
let's
in.
let's put a hashtag out there. Hashtag Pauly Shore comeback. I like that.
Yeah.
Don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years. I think he's hilarious.
I
love
looked
it.
him up. I was like, man, that would suck because he came in. Everyone was like, dude, we love what you're doing. Keep doing it. And all of a sudden, they're like, don't like
Done.
it. Stop doing that. And he's
Yeah.
like, what? That's what?
Yeah.
That's
That
what
was the
Holly-
thing. That's what works.
That's what Hollywood does.
That's awful. Isn't
they
it?
do.
Hollywood does. And then to every actor that happens to, they look at their agent afterwards and they're very sad because they can't figure out why this happened.
Again?
And they say,
Why did you do that?
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's give another warm goodbye to. That sounds weird. Where can we find you? Where can we find you, Leigh? Where can everybody find you on the interwebs and all that stuff?
They shouldn't go looking for me. To be honest, it's a bit weird. I think
not in real life.
Keep a safe distance.
Yeah, safe distance. So internet distance. Where can they find you from an internet distance?
I don't know.
Twitter.
On Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Yeah, right. I was like, what are you guys talking about?
I don't know.
Like, what, do you want my address?
It's a weird question.
At Leigh Parker _ That's my Twitter thing. Yeah.
All right. Anything upcoming that you want to pimp out or anything like that?
No, I mean I'm going home for the holidays, so I'm just gonna go have a good time.
There we go.
I'll see you guys when I get
If
back.
anyone wants to get on a 16-hour flight or something?
Yeah, if anyone wants to.
If anyone wants
There's
to.
plenty of space in Australia. I can't tell you not to go there.
Awkwardly stalk Leigh.
Yeah.
So then also Funhouse Massacre. It's out of theaters today, but it's coming back to video on demand and DVD very, very soon. We'll find out soon. Where can they find you, Renee?
At Renee Dorian on all things, social media, Instagram, Twitter, that fun stuff. Follow me. Please don't friend me on Facebook. That is just so I can look at my cute nieces.
Now everyone Facebook.
Not everyone.
It's just for
everyone's
me to look
like
at
she
cute
meant
photos.
she meant friend her. She meant friend her.
Yeah, no, more Twitter, Instagram.
Twitter
would
and
be
Instagram.
cool.
That's great. I'm at the Ben Begley, and we're also at Schmoes GMP, I believe. I don't know. I don't really remember. But you can follow me at the Ben Begley, and also at Funhouse Mass is the Funhouse Massacre Twitter. Also funhousemassacremovie.com. We should have news very soon on a Blu-ray and DVD and video on demand release. We're very excited about that. So, until next time, what is your guilty movie pleasure?
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Christian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.